This is going to be a rather short video about the Velomacchi 40-liter Speedway Backpack, because most of the things that I covered in the 28-liter Speedway Backpack review still hold true to this version. The 40-liter version basically just solves two negatives of the 28-liter and adds one trade-off compared to the smaller version. This is the Velomacchi 40-liter Speedway Backpack. This backpack is specifically designed to be worn on a motorbike or bicycle. And before we start this video, I would suggest to take a look at the video review of the Velomacchi 28-liter Speedway Backpack, because 90% of what I say in that review is basically applicable to this video as well. And with that out of the way, let's take a look at the positives and negatives of the Velomacchi 40-liter Speedway Backpack. The most distinctive feature of this backpack is the harness system. This system is, in my humble opinion, the best shoulder strap system for riding on a motorcycle when you need to wear a lot of protective armor. When you ride a motorcycle and wear a bunch of armor on your shoulders, elbows and back, you need the shoulder straps of a backpack get out of your way to have as much movement of your arms as possible. The Velomacchi harness system perfectly moves the straps out of your way and gives you plenty of room to move your arms and head. To close the harness, you have this good looking magnetic fit lock. Further, there is a place to attach a GoPro mount and store medical information in this little pocket. Moreover, it is important that nothing flutters in the wind while you are riding at high speeds, so all strap ends are neatly tucked away. All the materials are quite stiff. This is also so that nothing flutters in the wind, but also because it is a highly abrasion resistant material if you happen to get into a crash. This does mean that the material doesn't give you much flex when you want to load items. And this was actually one of the negative points of the 28-liter version of the Speedway Backpack. This non-flexibility of the material meant that loading bigger items was a little bit more difficult, and basically the 28 liters capacity isn't as usable or as loadable compared to other 28-liter backpacks. This is the positive aspect of the 40-liter version. While next to each other, the 40-liter version doesn't look that much bigger, those extra liters are quite noticeable when you are loading all of your items. Plus, the front compartment is much more usable than on the 28 liters. I'm still not a big fan of this opening system, but on the 40 liters you only have to deal with 2 opposed to 4 like on the 28-liter version. Plus, the compartment size is much more usable. Speaking of opening, let's talk about the main compartment of this backpack. Just like on the 28-liter, this is a roll-top opening that keeps water out of the main compartment very well. The difference is how you open the main compartment. On the 28-liter you have one big G-hook. This is not my favorite way to open and close a bag, but it works and it's just one G-hook. On the 40-liter version you have 2 of them, and they are much smaller. This makes opening and closing more fiddly than it needs to be. Especially with gloves, this is very complicated. In terms of security, that it won't open during your ride, this is probably a little bit better than on the 28 liters, but I would have preferred a more standard clip or maybe something like a Cobra buckle to keep the cool styling. As prefaced in the introduction, there's not much to add to my Velomacchi 28-liter Speedway Backpack review. This is basically just a bigger brother to the 28-liter version that adds 2 important changes. One of which is the opening of the main compartment with the 2 G-hooks, which I personally don't really like. And secondly, the bigger main compartment and the much more usable front compartment. 2 important benefits that I personally really like. If I had a wish, I would take the 40-liter Speedway Backpack version and add a single Cobra buckle to open and close the main compartment. That being said, I still think this is a great backpack if you ride a motorcycle. I can highly recommend the Velomacchi Speedway Backpack series. So if you can get away, or if you only need 20 liters of capacity, then I would say go with the 28 liter version. If you need more capacity, so effectively around 30 liters, and you don't mind the 2G hooks, which I think you can get used to, then I would say go with the 40 liter version of the Speedway Backpack series. So my question is, do you ride a motorcycle, and if yes, which backpack do you use on your motorcycle? Let me know in the comment section below. And like always, if you have more questions, also comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, click the like button. And please feel free to subscribe to my channel and click that little bell icon so you won't miss the next videos. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sticking around. I just wanted to show you a small little clip of my Patreon only podcast. For all of you who don't know, I recently made an ethics statement video in which I explained that I won't do any sponsorships or affiliate links on this channel. So I created a Patreon. And on this Patreon I created a couple of benefits or bonus content to give back to all of the people that support me on that Patreon. And one of the benefits are these podcasts. A couple of weeks ago I interviewed the senior editor from Perfect Pack, Jet, and yeah, here's a small little clip of that podcast. What would you say to someone who isn't in this bag enthusiast space yet? What would you say to that person to convince that person to be interested in bags?
There's two things that I might do. One is think about how much you are using the one you have and how it makes you feel. And if you're happy with it, then great. But if you are getting up every day and going, this hurts my shoulders, or God, I wish that I had a better place to put my computer mouse, then solve the problem. There are ways to solve the problem because there are so many different things on the market now, especially. Actually, it's pretty possible. It's very rare for somebody to come to me with a problem that they want to be solved, and for me to be able to go, actually, I don't know any bag that does that. And if somebody came to me and says, right, I want something that's going to let me carry 7 different pens in different slots, and it's going to be really comfortable if I walk for 5 miles with it, and I can carry a laptop and a water bladder. I say, okay, well, maybe try the Alpha 19 Evade or something like that. You know, there's any different set of criteria, you can actually sort that out. The next thing I might do is lend them something, because it may be they don't realize that they don't like what they've got now, or they don't realize how much better something can be.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It may be that they don't realize that actually if your back hurts at the end of the day, that's something you can sort out, you know, or it's something that's not just because your back is weak, it's because your bag doesn't fit you properly, you know. And I have done that with people. So that was a short clip of the Patreon only podcast. In this episode I interviewed Jet, the senior editor from Perfect Pack. So yeah, as mentioned in my ethics statement, I mentioned that I don't do any sponsorships and therefore created this Patreon. And on this Patreon you can find these Patreon only podcasts. Also I do contest where you can win a backpack. The last backpack you were able to win was the Chrome Summoner carry-on backpack. I will do this every second month, and you only have access to the merch store because there's only a limited quantity of the items that I can sell. This is only on Patreon. And yes, a couple of more things that you can find there as well. Oh yeah, the Discord server, you will have access to the Discord server where we have monthly video meetups, which is a lot of fun. But I only want to say that if you want to support me on Patreon, that is great, but please do not feel pressured into supporting me on Patreon. All of my videos that you can see on YouTube, they will stay for free. You can always watch my video reviews here on YouTube for free. So don't feel pressured in supporting me via Patreon. That you are subscribed to this channel, watching my videos, that is already so incredible. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, hopefully I will see you in the next videos. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you very much.